Now, from the Dignity Health Studio at the Bakersfield Californian, it's time to open up with Don and Bob, a great pair on the air.
And indeed, welcome everybody. Bob Frater here. Bob, great to partner with you as always.
Oh, Don, it's a real pleasure and a privilege. Thank you.
Listen, we really do want to welcome our viewers. Our little secret here is we started this little show about 5 months ago with 500 viewers. At last count, we've got about 10,000, and that's all over the nation, about all over 7 other nations out there, all up and down California. So we really welcome you. We thank you for thinking it's important enough here what we're trying to do to spend some time with us. So, you know, if we could switch over here, every week we've always had our guy on here at the end that we talk about, and he always brings issues. And we usually give him about 8 minutes of the show, and he's dealing with the most earth-shattering things in those 8 minutes. So we just said, you know, it's time to really give him the whole show. This is going to be serious issues that have implications for all the nations we deal with. And so, Bob, why don't you take it away?
Well, our guest today is Ed Davis, and noted agronomist from Kern County. And there are issues that run the gamut when it comes to you, Ed. But one of the things that I want to talk about right off of the get-go this morning is this week a statue was dedicated at the National Statuary Hall at the United States Capitol in Washington, D.C. And the young man who crafted this work of art is a local Bakersfield guy. He's Benjamin Victor, and I've played basketball with him more times than I can count. He's a heck of a basketball player. He's an even better artist. And he is the only living artist in this country to have 2 statues in the National Hall. So this week they unveiled a statue of kind of an unknown hero, a man by the name of Norman Borlaug. And he was an agricultural scientist from Iowa who saw a need. He was literally called down to Mexico by a politician from his state. And he saw some of the problems with wheat down in Mexico, and he began to put his mind to it, and with a team, he was able to come up with a way that completely revolutionized the way that wheat was grown, especially in those types of places. In 1971, this is what is amazing to me, Don. In 1971, this man literally won the Nobel Peace Prize. Not a science prize, the Nobel Peace Prize, because it's estimated today that his work has saved approximately 1 billion lives. And so as I look at this, I'm completely fascinated. His life would make an incredible film, by the way. I'm completely fascinated by this story and what drives a man to go and literally change the world. And I'm wondering, where are the Norman Borlaugs today? Because certainly he saw that the population was going to outstrip the food supply, and he knew that something had to be done. So I'd love to get your thoughts on this, Ed.
Well, thank you for having me. What Benjamin has been able to accomplish is absolutely incredible, and it's just a real godsend that we actually know somebody like that from our community. And obviously, he's a gifted artist. My cousin, William Davis, is a wildlife artist, and I know the effort and energy that's put into that type of a thing. I worked in my cousin Bill's factory for quite a while as a TIG welder for him, so I helped repair all of his bronzes. But these people are so gifted and so intelligent, and they research beyond description. So I'm sure that even though Benjamin, when you see that statue and you get the look of the old hat, the old capello that he had on his head, short brim capello, and the way he had it sitting on his head, you know that Benjamin took his time to know the guy before he did the work. And it's just absolutely a fascinating work that he did. And it's just really neat to think that he's got 2 pieces up in there. It's really a neat thing. To go to your other thing, those types of credible efforts and energies are ongoing today. there is one major corporation after another who are trying to feed the world and come up with ideologies in a protected environment so they can keep their science to themselves for more than one reason. Because when Norman did that work with the wheat, he was the only guy working on that stuff.
Right.
Today, there are probably 50 companies who are trying to do everything they possibly can to just improve wheat alone. Because his work is a continuum of new science and new breeding and new genetics that has the capacity to continue to feed the world for less money in droughty environments or high protein need environments in different parts of the world that we need on all scales. So the ultimate reality is that his work is actually a prelude to the types of works that have been involved in agriculture all along. So when you hear the names of like Monsanto and other companies who are currently continue to work on those types of things, they get punished. They really do get punished for doing everything they possibly can to under a protected environment so that their works don't get contaminated to try to improve their programs.
Right.
So it's
Now,
people look at it.
let me
Go
ask
ahead.
you
Yeah,
this.
go ahead.
In what way do they get punished?
Well, their genetic ideology, where they have a breeding program that is very protected, and the perception is that these genetically modified products that they're making are somehow, some way going to kill the earth, is all a unfortunate scenario that is based on speculation. The absolute reality is that in this litigious world that we live in today, everybody's always looking for a reason. And when you delve into just like the punishment that Monsanto has gone through, trying to develop better seeds that are easier to produce, that make more food, higher protein, higher yields at less cost, there's always, just like in all sciences and all works, for every good thing that's happening to a company, there are 5 or 10 things that are trying to attack it so they can make money on their end. And it's really this litigious nature that's brought us into a scenario that every time someone like Mr. Borlaug's work is done today, there is always negativity attached to it. Whereas in his day, when somebody did something wonderful, then people were patting him on the back. Right. So it has evolved dramatically, and for no rhyme or reason.
But
It's
Ed,
just the way
isn't
it
there a
is.
dark side to what a company like Monsanto is doing when local farmers that have farms that have been in the families for generations can't save their own seed and have thugs out there to make sure they're not doing that and intimidating them, and there have been some really chilling documentaries about Monsanto's tactics in trying to guard their patent.
No question, no question. And it's a real problem with the patent office in my mind's eye, and that's a conversation for a different day. You go through millions and millions of dollars, because I've gotten patents myself on equipment. And when you actually get the patent, no one helps you enforce them. So you pay all this money, and it's up to you to enforce your own patent. And if, in fact, there is a patent infringement, it's coming out of your back pocket. The government doesn't do anything at all to help patent infringements. So have things gotten rough? You bet. Have things gotten rough in every patent infringement that has ever gone to trial? You bet. Have people tried to protect their patents any way they possibly can? You bet. Because it's a negative aspect of the actual patent process. If you could just simply call up the FBI and say, I've got a guy who is infringing my patent, go take care of it because he is infringing my patent and I can prove it. You can't do that. You've got to go after him yourself. So that's the weakness of the patent system, along with the fact that a patent system, when you write a patent is there to teach. You have to teach the regulators who are reading it, and it becomes public record. So when Monsanto or the guy that invented the can opener or anybody gets a patent, when he gets the patent, you have to write in detail what it is, how it works, how you made it, draw pictures, make schematics, and give lifetime types of information so that you literally teach your competitors, along with the bureaucrats, how to make the product. So you have to become stringent. And then that leads into these really difficult scenarios that you spoke of, and you're 100% right. So it's a very difficult thing. It's a weakness of the patent system.
Do you have any concern that more and more control of our food supply is passing into fewer and fewer hands of major corporations, just
No
like
question.
the media?
No question. No question. And it's just like in the produce business. I mean, 20, 30 years ago, there were probably, 50 different produce companies that a produce man could call. And now it's been whittled down to probably 10 or 12. It's happening everywhere in every business at every level. The strong get stronger and the weak go away. And that's always been how businesses worked. So it is a continuum, and you are 100% correct.
Well, when we come back, Ed, I think what you really want to zero in on is the imbalance in our trade supply with those nations out there that are folks from other nations that are watching, and how America, you think, is getting the short end of the stick, and how we ought to fix that. So we'll be right back with that.
I'm a comparison shopper. I shopped around. I did look on the internet, and in shopping around, it was the best price.
We decided to switch over to Personal Express because we saved so much.
We got a pretty good discount with when we put our house and our cars together.
Switching over saved me $300 a month.
And I have had insurance companies call me, and when I tell them what I'm paying for the insurance, they tell me we cannot beat that.
Low rates with the local advantage. That's Personal Express.
The new book is out. That was easy. I would title this thing sort of a description of what raising children is like. That was easy. I've been writing columns now for about 25 years. Writing has always been a conversation. You're taking somebody by the hand for 3 or 4 minutes, and you're not letting go. The new book, That Was Easy. Nothing easy about any of this, but we've had some fun, and I hope you guys will have some fun looking at this book.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet! You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
Welcome back to Open Up with Don and Bob. Tina is away today. Our guest this morning is Ed Davis, a fascinating conversation. And Don, I know you've got some more.
Well, Ed Davis, we've always given him the last segment of this show, but little 8 minutes with these earth-shattering and earth-shaking topics, but it was just time to go in depth. And Ed, I know there's one you're very concerned about affects the strength and the weakness of this country, and that our strength is draining away. Explain what you mean.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. It's something that I've been reading about and trying to get a better handle on for about the last 10 years, and this opportunity to share this openly outside my home, where everybody there is tired of hearing about it, is just awesome. But anyway, I want to talk about a recap on what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, which was the trade deficit, because we didn't really get to talk about that. And then I want to go into the cost of trade to the United States versus other countries, and how that ties directly into our deficit. And also, the absolute reality is where this has put us in the United States, and how do we get out of it?
Now, we've got other countries watching. Are you going to be picking on them?
You bet.
All right, let's hear it.
You bet. But the reality of the folks in other countries is they don't know either, because at the end of the day, fair is fair, and these things are all at a government level, and none of us really know, although all of this stuff is absolutely available on the internet and in very, very credible sources. So all I've done here is we skimmed and we got enough information so that we could make basically a teaser of the thought processes that really need to be undergone by everyone, so that we can all move forward in a mannerism in which we continue to make America strong, because a strong financial America is a strong financial world. If we go through a just complete implosion like we're heading for, the reality is that if we implode, because we're the buyer of the world, we buy, and everyone else supplies to us, because we have a trade deficit with everyone, including every country that you are now witnessing this program on your program. So they are buying less than we are buying from those countries, and their taxation along the way and tariffs along the way are much higher than ours. So we're basically, the buyer of the world is imploding. And Ross Perot, although I didn't vote for him because I knew he couldn't win, he nailed it almost. His graphs and every one of his explanations were prophecy. They really were. Now, I'm not talking about biblical or religious prophecy, but a prophet is someone who can actually say what's going to happen in the future, and it happens. That's a prophet, and he's a financial prophet. And what he said about the implosion is 100% correct, although he missed it by about 30%. We are going downhill faster than he said we were going to. So the unfortunate reality is that everyone everywhere just simply needs to realize that in this implosion process that we have going on, like Ross Perot suggested, it is not only happening, but it is happening worldwide. And it's an unfortunate situation because of the trade deficit. And a real problem is that because we have this capitalistic ideology here in the United States, businesses run business. And in other countries, governments run business. When they get money, they're not business people. They're government people. And the ultimate reality is through a socialistic ideology. How they handle the money when they get it is not how capitalists handle money, business people. And it's for that reason, for example's sake, that I've always thought that the President of the United States, regardless of what party, should have been a person who ran a business, who made a payroll, who paid taxes. I don't care if it's a sandwich shop. We need business people running the biggest business in the world, which is the American GDP. We've got to make sure people understand it. You had a question.
Yeah, Ed. Could you elaborate a bit on the differences between how you perceive a socialistic society handling money versus a capitalistic society? Could you clear that up a bit? What do you mean by that?
Certainly. Just like with the socialistic ideology that's happening in Russia, today in that takeover. In the paper this morning, it clearly said that Putin was going to up everyone's Social Security in that region immediately, because he basically bought into that ideology, sold it, if you will. He's going to go in and pump the place full of money. It's in the paper today of the billions of dollars he's pumping in there immediately, so that he basically bought all those people, because ultimately what he wanted to do is buy the natural gas pipeline that runs through that area. So if he controls that pipeline, he controls 40% of the natural gas that's going into Europe. That's why Europe doesn't want to roll up their sleeves and have any kind of an argument with him. And all the monies that he's going to be pulling out of this European environment are going to go into strengthening his government, not increasing their capitalistic nature, which is guys like us who are making widgets and selling widgets for a profit. So that's the real difference in it. The socialistic ideology takes advantage of situations so that the government can skim more money and continue to pay people for not being productive. The capitalistic ideology says roll your sleeves up. The government's not going to help. The government is only there to do the things that government is supposed to do, and they're not going to get involved in your business. So at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, a capitalistic ideology has the capacity to build monetary value through business rather than doing things like Mr. Putin just did, or like major leaders from all of these socialistic countries have done for generations.
Ed, take us deeper in layman's terms that anyone can understand into the nature of this implosion you see happening. What's it going to look like? Why is it going to happen?
Well, we'll do that as we move forward.
Okay.
And we did get off track a little bit, but I want to go back over what we're currently doing now. And we don't even realize we're doing it. We are bamboozled on a daily basis, and it's absolutely fascinating. And like I said before, when I looked at the Olympics in Beijing and all that pomp and glitter and fireworks and everything, I just sat there and watched television and I said, oh my gosh, we paid for that, because it's the American dollars that go there. We have a tremendous problem with China with regard to our relationship with them by simply saying that we have about $25 billion on an annual basis that we are, and that was last registered in 2006, that we are behind them with regard to our trade deficit. So anyway, that number today is about $150 billion on an annual basis that China is selling to us, and they're not buying from us. They won't buy anything from us. And I'll get into all that a little bit later, but like, for example, say Mattel, and the Barbie doll, she does about $30 million a year, and there's 2 factories in China, one in Indonesia, one in Malaysia. That, even though Mattel is in Los Angeles area, it is not an American company at all. And it's absolutely fascinating that because of this, we have this at least $600 billion on an annual basis drained from our economy, that giant sucking sound that Ross Perot talked about, which is greater than 4% devaluation of our overall wealth on an annual basis. So in 10 years, we have lost 40%. It is 4% a year. We are losing of our monetary money by simply buying goods and services from other places. And I brought some examples today. It's really a fascinating thing. We all use the Scotch-Brite, made in Canada.
Yeah, we've got viewers in Canada.
And I love this one. Gillette, the old American-made company.
I've got that razor.
You do? You bought it from Poland. Yeah, pretty neat. How about the American crescent wrench?
Sure.
The best
Hold it up
adjustable
higher.
wrench.
Chris says hold it up a little higher.
The best adjustable wrench there is on earth, made in China. The Crescent Company. Who doesn't call this a crescent wrench?
Right.
It's a crescent wrench, the adjustable wrench that was invented here in the United States is made in China. And, I've got other things here that are just really fun. The Sharpie.
Right.
Where's it made? It's not America. That's Canada. They have a wonderful, wonderful product line there that we just continue. Oh my gosh, look at here. Singer sewing machine. Oh my gosh, how American can you get? Who didn't have a Singer sewing machine in their house when they were growing up and their mom fixed everything? China. All of their goods and services are China. I love this one. Rainbird. Who doesn't want to have Rainbird in their yard? It's the best product on the market, and it's made in Mexico.
A sprinkler.
Yes.
Yep.
Rainbird sprinkler head, so that you can water your yard, and it's adjustable, pop up, and does a beautiful, beautiful job. And oh my gosh, and how about Bic? Of course, Bic is a French company, but this product here was made in Greece. So this is a continuum of how things are continuing to evolve away from the United States and towards other countries. Who doesn't own, if you're a mechanical person, who doesn't own a vice grip? China. And I mean, vice grip, you talk about American. This is mom's apple pie here, China. And we talked recently about the difference between the 88-cent screwdriver and the $3 screwdriver. American, they put it together in America. Cobalt put this together in America, but these are not American products. That's the closest I could get to an American product because it was assembled here versus a Chinese 88-cent.
So the question is, so what?
Well, this is an absolute example, in my mind's eye, as to how products, goods and services and companies have been forced out of the United States because of the cost of doing business here, and in fact are shipping products back into us under the guise of, yes, this is an American company, but it is not made here. And that's how all of these products are, in fact, coming into the United States, and we are purchasing them under the guise that it is an American product or it's the best you can get, and it's imported. So the difference in, for example, say China is, and we'll talk about this later, but keeping in mind this, if we are going to sell this in China as an American-made product, they will tax it and tariff it up as much as 60%. We would charge them, when this comes in, 2%. So it's an American boondoggle, if you will, with regard to free trade and how it all works. So the ultimate reality is that because the devaluation of the dollar in the year 1900, a $100 bill was worth $100. That $100 bill today is worth $3.48. Wow. So these types of degenerating things have continued to artificially, because everybody wants to have money. You want to have money. So everybody wants to have a bunch of stuff in their wallet or their purse or whatever. But the reality of it is, worldwide, all monies are in fact being devaluated so that everybody has money because of trade imbalances. And it is trade imbalances. You can point fingers at, like, the NAFTA thing started off with Bush 1 and went to Clinton, and it was pretty well kicked up in the driveway, and then Bush 2 came on and made sure it was all hunky-dory and everything. We're getting killed in NAFTA. People that are involved in NAFTA are shipping far more products into us than they will buy from us.
Ed, our producer, Chris McCullough, is saying we need to take a break, but what are you going to deal with when we come back from the break?
We're going to finish this off. I'm going to give you some more examples of this thing, which is really going to be fun because the numbers are mind-boggling.
All right. We'll be right back. Stay right with us.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores. Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly business journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californian's Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The Daily Deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
Hi, Corey Costello here, host of Roadrunner Rundown, Tuesdays, 10 a.m. right here on Bakersfield.com. It's the official program of CESUB Athletics. We bring you inside the program with interviews with coaches and student athletes. Of course, everybody's favorite Corey versus. I mean, people like to see me in embarrassing athletic situations. And, of course, we'll have all the highlights from around the Roadrunners as well. So join us for Roadrunner Rundown, Tuesdays, 10 a.m. right here on Bakersfield.com.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet! You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
And again, Tina has the day off. Bob Prater here, my good buddy here with me, one of my very best friends, guy I so admired. Again, just the premise of this show, if you recall, the title is very important to us. Open Up. There's actually a book by a Mr. Penninger about the healing power of opening up, of digging down and disclosing what's really going on deep inside of ourselves, to do that to ourselves, to do it with one another, to do it to God, and how powerfully healing that can be to open up. And today we're kind of trying to dig down into some things that are going on with our country and our relations with the world, and some of the dysfunctions there, and what that may be leading us all to a very destructive conclusion, destiny. So, Bob, take us back to Ed Davis, our good friend here.
Ed, you mentioned something that was interesting to me. You talked about the difference between capitalism and socialism, and governments controlling business versus business controlling business. Yet you brought these products out, American companies that are going abroad to have manufacturing done. Is it your contention that perhaps there should be regulation to keep these businesses from doing this and bring this all back home?
No, I really don't think so. If you get a chance to look at the National Geographics for this month, there's an article in there on how much money people are paid in China for a day's work. It's between $3 and $5 a day.
Right.
So these companies have gone to other countries because our standard of living and our requirements for hourly wage, if they in fact continue to dovetail into our fabric and our society, these companies cannot compete. It's impossible for them to do. So these companies are gone. And we worked with China Grove. It's a major mill for years in cotton production, and in Gastonia, North Carolina. And they had to move out of the country. And China Grove had been there for 150 years in Gastonia, North Carolina. They are now 20 miles north of Mexico City. Because that's the only way that they could stay in business.
I understand.
And in another same kind of a scenario, the SCT yards had been in business for just a little bit over 200 years in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They went out of business completely because they would not go pull out and go out of the United States. So they're out of business. So that 10 acres of covered mill in Chattanooga, Tennessee is empty and has been empty for almost 20 years now.
Wow.
So those are the decisions that are being made every day. And along the lines of that, it was kind of a fun thing. And I challenge you guys and all the viewers too, just get a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and mosey around your house and look and see where things were made. Because I'm wearing a Egyptian cotton shirt, very nice button-up collar. It's a 1736, my size, perfect, $18 from Costco. It's a wonderful shirt. I'm just as bad. So when you walk around your house and you see how we have been manipulated into buying products that are not sustainable for our society as to how we want to live, causing the implosion, then when you walk around your house, you will be shocked. I don't have one shirt that was made in America. I just looked at this morning. And my pants, I wear Wranglers and I wear Dockers. I know they're American. And I have a few Wrangler shirts. They're made in America. My wife, dressed to the nines all the time, gorgeous woman. I looked in her dresses this morning before I came in. I didn't find an American-made product. And you don't have it either. So you walk around the house and, Easter time, we've got the little bunnies up all over the house. Look at the bottom, Taiwan. Look at the bottom, China. And vases and glassware and everything. We all have it. We have all become this person who is destroying our own society through these types of things.
Not to get off track, but I do think of the example of Sriracha hot sauce. The Vietnamese, I think it was a Vietnamese refugee or from somewhere in that area, comes to this country and takes over an old hula hoop factory or an old Frisbee factory and starts making this. Now, he could have made that sauce back in his homeland, but said, no, America gave me this opportunity, and I'm going to hire American people, and I'm going to do an American product. So isn't that odd that it took an immigrant to come here to make a truly American product in Sriracha hot sauce?
Yes, but take that to the next level.
All right.
In that, if you go, and I've seen the book, if you are General Motors and you have a union text in front of you as to the rules that you have to conform to for the union representation work, that book of every page written by a lawyer and every page has multiple needs that the union people have to have. That book, which is an 8.5 by 11, is over 5,000 pages. So point is that gentleman who started up that business is not into these excessive overhead costs that old established companies have to conform to if they're going to stay in America, just like GM, and just their information just on their union people, 5,000 pages written by lawyers. That has nothing to do with OSHA, has nothing to do with safety or with anything else. That's just the union book. 5,000 pages. So that wonderful gentleman that you speak of has not had to conform to the reality of doing business with American regulators and American bureaucracy that actually stifles the capacity for business, the way business is done.
Ed, I have a question for you. You speak about the regulations being kind of burdensome and possibly obstacles, but you also said the things that we choose to buy and the way that we choose to live. Now, it's no big secret that we are the largest consumer society in the world, the United States.
Correct.
And I can still remember President Obama when he was running the first time. He said, at some point, the world is going to look at us and say, it's not okay to drive an SUV and have your house at 72 degrees all the time when the rest of the world doesn't live that way. So isn't some of this the choices that we've made as a country?
Well, as an individual, I bought this shirt at Costco.
I understand, but I'm saying as a society.
Well, we are, at the end of the day, a portion of society.
Sure.
So we are our own examples.
Right.
And we are our own detriment to our quality of life.
Right.
Which is the reality of this whole scenario. Mm-hmm. And until we level the playing field, then we still continue to plunge down this hole.
Ed, when we come back, you're going to have about 8 minutes left. We're going to go to good words for the new week, hopefully some encouraging things for you out there, but we're going to want to hear your solutions. We'll want to come to solution time. So we'll be right back with good words for the coming week.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores. Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
The new book is out. That was easy. I would title this thing sort of a description of what raising children is like. That was easy. I've been writing columns now for about 25 years. Writing has always been a conversation. You're taking somebody by the hand for 3 or 4 minutes, and you're not letting go. The new book, That Was Easy. Nothing easy about any of this, but we've had some fun, and I hope you guys will have some fun looking at this book.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californian's daily deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
Welcome back to Open Up with Don and Tina. I'm obviously not Tina. I'm Bob. I am far less attractive than Tina. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, she is a good-looking woman.
Don, what do you got for us?
Well, listen, there's a lot of negative news out there. Many people going through hard times at all levels. One of the premise of this show is to open up about those hard times. How do we get through it? How did we get to the other side? And one of the things we do is we just have a little thing we call Good Words for the coming week, and we invite anyone in the community to come on, share a story of inspiration or encouragement or gentle challenge that maybe a thought we can take with us in the new week. And today we have a wonderful guy here in Bakersfield. His name is Al Ferry. He's the head of Love Mission Incorporated. Al, take it away. What do you got for us?
Well, it's actually Missions of Love, Don.
Oh,
That's
okay.
fine. We're not as well known as we'd like to be yet, but I appreciate you having me on the program today. And I'd like to speak about life's living rewards. America is the land of the free, or so we think. But is it really? Or does it depend on your point of view? Now, some would say yes, and of course some would say no. But doesn't the Constitution say we are all equal and all have the right to pursue the same things? Then what about the kid born on the wrong side of the tracks? What about the kid with the crack parent? Or how about the kid whose father is entrenched in a gang? Does the kid born with a silver spoon in his mouth have more opportunities to be successful? Maybe you're thinking, why all the questions? Because questions will hopefully start the thinking process, and thinking can generate action. There'll be obviously some variable answers to these questions, and many of them are based on the environment from which you come. If we could just for a moment put aside all of our preconceived ideas and look at the facts, the reality, we probably would find it very disconcerting. We're not all equal in the opportunities that life offers. There are advantages that some have that others will find it very difficult to attain, and unless, of course, someone intervenes and opens a door. From Missions of Love's inception, we have transitioned through many worthy ideas as to how we could best serve the needs of underprivileged youth in our communities, and we have come to the conclusion that leading these young people in a positive direction can be accomplished by teaching them to play an instrument or sing. Music is the universal language, and it's our mission to give those that qualify a musical education by providing instruments and lessons. Research indicates that listening to quality music that is personally enjoyable has a positive effect on the learning process. In addition, the use of music to enhance memory has been explored, and research also suggests that musical training will naturally lead to a higher success with math, and it can be a catalyst in improving many other areas of the life. In closing, I would like to relay something I read in an old issue of Reader's Digest. In tough times, giving is part of what makes us human. It's a manifestation of what's best within us, which is our capacity to love and make a sacrifice for others. Tough times shouldn't dampen our humanity. 100 years from now, no one will care what kind of car I drove. No one will care what kind of clothes I wore. No one will care what kind of house I lived in. But the world may be a better place if I've made the difference in the life of a child. Thank you.
Boy, Al, very, very wonderful. Chris, could you call up? Do we have Al's phone number there? There it is. If you'd like to get in touch with Al, maybe about helping out with this and showing your love for kids in this particular way, there's Al's phone number, 661. That's our area code, of course, 889-0191. Thank you again, Al. And Chris, I wonder if we could pull up Ed Davis's phone number right now. Could we do that right at the top? Ed's going to be on with us the next 8 minutes, closing out the show. And if you'd like to talk with Ed about these things, there's Ed's number. That's his office, 325-2644. And you can get in touch with Ed that way. All right, Ed, you know what I love about you is you're just an ordinary citizen, a businessman, a very smart businessman and smart citizen, but you take on the heavy lifting of just paying attention and being concerned and being in my mind, a real citizen, what a citizen is all about. So now you've taken us through some problems. What kind of solutions do you have for us?
Yes, well, thank you. I appreciate that. The first thing that has to be done in all of this is that we are imploding or hemorrhaging. We're bleeding out. As Ross Perot said, he was 100% right. And whenever you're hemorrhaging, the first thing you have to do is stop the hemorrhaging. You have to stop it. I hear people all the time saying that we're in a hole and we need to dig our way out. You can't dig your way out of a hole. You got to stop digging. We've got to stop what we're doing and change direction. With regard to the deficit, we need to be in a trade relationship that is, in fact, equally fair, tit for tat. I'll buy one from you, you buy one from me, and keep those numbers even. That will dramatically change our capacity here in the United States to produce products, especially if we also match the import and tariff taxes that other people are charging us. And if we just simply put ourselves in a situation where China is charging us 65% for our products to go into China, and we are charging them 2%, we start charging China 65%, and since they're charging us. So if you want to make it a fair and equal trading program, make it fair and stop what we're doing. You spoke earlier, a couple of weeks ago, about what about the people, Ed, who are hurting? We are all hurting. We're all hemorrhaging. We have to stop the bleeding. We have to stop this terrible, terrible trade problem that we have that has got us. It is the real reason why we're $17 trillion in debt. Mm-hmm. It's not another problem. It is our trade deficit and the amount that we are actually charged in trade taxes and tariffs by other countries. Level the playing field, bring strength back to the United States. Within 5 years, oh my gosh, America will change. SCT Yarns will be back in business in Chattanooga, Tennessee, because now they can compete. So the reality is to level the playing field. And that's really what needs to happen. And it needs to happen now. It needs to be done by business people who are tough people who can make it happen. You know, those tough guys you talked about earlier, this pansy political nonsense that has continued to put us in a greater and greater and greater deficit with regard to our financial prowess is a continuum. Let's stop the bleeding.
Pansy politics, that's a phrase.
That's a good one.
And what we need is real power politics, not corrupt power, but dealing with these issues absolutely head on, recognizing what the problem is and going right at it.
No question.
What's the problem up there among those that since government never does anything until it's forced to do anything, how does this grassroots pressure come from the rest of us?
Well, the most important thing is that we have to put ourselves in a situation, just like Ben Franklin told us so many years ago, that every man needs to leave the farm and go and serve 2 terms in the service of the government or state or county or city, then go back to the farm. The continuum there, in his mind's eye, and the simplicity of his intelligence, clearly defines that we are putting ourselves in a situation where business people are running the business of the business. We are not running a business with a bunch of political people who only want to get reelected.
We're coming up on a presidential election not too long from now. What is the one characteristic that you would look for in a candidate that would make you support him or her?
I am going to be looking for a business person, somebody who is a hard-nosed business person who can make these things happen, because we desperately have to do it. And again, the strong American economy is a strong world economy. We can't simply give all of our money to other people and think that they're going to get strong. China, Japan, even though we had a $27.4 billion trade deficit with Japan in January of this year, they're in financial trouble. because they don't know what to do with the money once they get it. They're not business people. So the ultimate reality is we have to have business people running the business of the business, not politicians.
Ed, it's an honor to have you part of this show. We got 30 seconds. Bob, what do you think about all this?
Well, this is fascinating to me. And even as I hear you, Ed, I'm not so sure that these things are even possible unless we dial it back as a nation, as a consumer nation, because the inequity of consumption just says that that's how it has to be. So,
okay, got to go. Thanks for being with us. We really appreciate you being part of this show. See you next week.